Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Devil's Advocate Trades Edition with your host, Lisa McGrath. It's me. So, today is the first day that marks the new intro. Hope you'll like it. Hope it's not annoying. I think it's great, personally, but you know, they say it matters what I think, right? But it kind of matters what you think. So it is what it is. You just get an email of tons of emails of people telling me that they don't like it. I'd be horrible. I'd be upset. Okay, so we've got quite a few podcast guests that are coming on, and how they all came to be guests on my show was that I had Victoria Givlin come on and talk about a book that she was helping compose and put together, which was called Good Grief. And so now the authors are all coming on to have a conversation with me. And I will be honest with you, some of these authors, it's just amazing. So Good Grief is all about grief, obviously, in itself, but how everybody identifies with it differently and different stories. And they're telling personal stories and how they kind of maneuvered through that grief. So we've got Maria Martinello is one of the authors, and she was on already once, but we didn't talk too much about Good Grief, so I might have her back to come do that. We have another lady by the name of Victoria, I think it's Mendonca? I don't want to pronounce it wrong. I'm sorry, Victoria, if I did. We also have another one that I reached out to would have been Alison Brochu and Irina Jilitsova, I think is pronounced. Irina, don't hurt me. Irina's coming on first, so that will be fun. So basically this is exactly how Victoria writes it in her post. She says, these stories are human, written, and from the heart. They're standing in powerful truth, navigating war times, family traumas, overcoming a loss of identity, and so much more. I couldn't put the book down when I read it. I'm so honored to have put this together. Thank you for all the support and faith in me. And then she goes on to say, you know, her little blurbs of, gratitude for everybody, which you have to have gratitude in things. If you don't have gratitude, then what are you doing? So anyways, so a lot of these authors are going to be coming on, and I'm super excited. There's quite a few of them. So there's also Nina Keiko, I think it's pronounced, Katie Watson, Marlo Marshall, Katie's already in there once, Jessica Sudin, Russell Motha, and let's see, Kyle, I think it's Craig. If I'm not pronouncing your name right and I'm butchering them, I apologize. Let's just start there. But all of these people came together and wrote stories, personal stories. And, you know, it's what Devil's Advocate is all about. It's about hearing your story and then taking your story and understanding, you know, could you have done something better? Could you have done something different? And if you did, where do you think it would have taken you? It's also asking hard questions when we're talking about the industry that you're in, because we do focus on trades. I am heavily focused on the trades community, but I'm also focused on people in general, because everybody needs help on something. And so when I focus on the mental health or on wellness, it's really for everybody. But trades, we kind of break our bodies down. So, you know, and our mind, body, and spirit gets broken down. So we need all the help we can get. Sounds horrible, but it's true. But, you know, with that being said, I think this book is going to be something amazing. I haven't had a chance to get my hands on it. I was supposed to go for lunch with Victoria and get a copy so I could read it. So now I'm going to have to go get a copy and read it. So that I know. But then there's a part of me that's like, I don't want to read it. Because when all these authors come on, I want them to tell me their story. I want you to hear it the way I'm hearing it for the first time. And you know, that authentic, you know, shock value or compassion that comes out of it is such a better hit than just, oh yeah, I read your story, it was great. Like, sometimes the experience and the journey of understanding what they wrote and why they wrote it is far more rewarding than just, oh yeah, I read your story. But that's my opinion. So, I mean, opinions are like assholes. Everyone's got one. Let's see. There's one lady on here that I'm excited to speak to. She'll be coming on as well. Her name is Alison Brochu, and her and I have a similar story. So she is a cancer survivor, single mom, and entrepreneur. So I'm excited to talk to Alison on that alone, because that means we're gonna have lots in common. You gotta like when you can identify with people. It makes it a little easier. What else is there? Let's see. Oh, my website's almost done. I got to crack the whip because I just say that because my producer's listening and it's the same guy. So I can just talk a bunch of shit while I'm on my podcast and he's got to listen to it because he won't come on because he's the producer. Sit in your corner. Nobody puts baby in a corner. But, yeah, so that should be done. But we had there's so much work for it. Like we're putting in all of the documents. So if you are a company across Canada, in the UK, in Australia, or the States, safety pretty much crosses territories that way. Like we're all pretty similar. Well, except the States. States kind of goes to beat their own drum. They do have OSHA, but it's not a similar standard. It's I think you guys are just a little bit lower on the safety scale. That's not that it's a bad thing, because if you go by the bare minimum, the bare minimum is like, you know, I don't think it's even worth doing the bare minimum sometimes. Like I think safety should be safety. It shouldn't just be like, well, you could do this and we would like to see this. It should be, I mean, don't get me wrong, there's laws. I mean, there's an act that says you need to have a hazard assessment. But how many people understand what a hazard assessment is, or that there's 4 categories of hazard and 4 categories of controls? Like not everybody understands what they are and how to utilize them properly. I love when I used to go in and train safety, and then I would tell people how to fill out their job hazard assessments or their field level hazard assessments or whatnot. And they would write awareness. And I was like, that's not a control. Awareness is not a control. So I always found that quite funny. But yeah, so all of these documents that myself and poor Michael had to go through takes a long time, and we got to make sure they're good, they're perfect, so that when you go and you decide to purchase them, you're good to go, and you can just move, and you can start moving onto your safety journey. You have the manual, and then there's also all the HR documents to go along with it, so that you can get your company going tickety-boo and not have to worry about all these people trying to sell you something, because you have the document and it's tailored to your company and to your laws of your district or your jurisdiction, I should say. Then that's all you really need. What else is there? I love consulting. I'm happy to travel, but I mean, at the same time, I mean, I am located in, Alberta, Canada. So I want to conquer Canada, but I mean, like, hey, I'm not going to lie. If Australia called me and said, come down to Australia, I would hesitate. Like they have spider season. Like I'm not going to lie. I have a bit of a phobia. It's not as bad as it used to be, but like, these things jump from tree to tree. Like it's terrifying. I don't, like someone's like, oh, we just have a little spider, and it's like bigger than my hand. And I'm like, can we do it virtually? Like, could we do it virtually? I don't know if I could go to Australia. I think I'd be too scared. It's not even the snakes that bother me, even though I know there's like a shit ton of venomous snakes. Snakes don't bug me. It's the spiders. Like they have banana spiders. I've heard of these things. I think that's what they're called, banana spiders, and they're huge, and they can they won't hurt you, apparently, allegedly, and they sit beside you. Like you could be sitting somewhere and they come sit beside you, and their like leg span is like massive. It's something like 3 feet or something, like just for one leg. And I'm like, no, no thanks. I'm good. But, I think the UK would be fun to visit at some point. I will eventually go there with my kids on a vacation because I want to experience the UK. There's just so many things that, I mean, my daughter wants to travel more than my son. I was talking to my son. I was like, maybe we'll go, we'll take a trip in November or something. We'll see how things look. And he's like, I don't want to go. And I'm like, what? I can't travel and leave you. I got to take you with me right now. Like, you're still too young just to leave behind. He's like, I'll just stay with dad. And I was like, no, you'll come with mom. You want the experience. And part of me is like, I hear what he's saying. He just doesn't like to travel, or he wants to stay inside of Canada to travel. And that's fine. I mean, like, you are who you are. But at the same time, I want to push him out of his comfort zone a little bit, just to experience things so that he can say that he's done it and actually enjoy it and make some core memories. But if it's just going to cause him more agony, then I won't bother. But it was funny. I was like, we should go to Costa Rica or Jamaica. And he's like, I want to go back to Mexico. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, we could do that too. Like, there's lots of places in Mexico we can go. But anyways, I digress. Children traveling. What else is there? yeah, excited about the website for sure. It's different, and it was funny because when we were going through it together, and he was like, "Do you want it like in a dark mode or a light mode?" And it was really funny because he was making me laugh because we speak virtually, and so he was like, "See how like my whole face changes color when I do the white side?" And it does. It's like super bright, and I'm like, "Yeah, we're gonna go with the dark side. We'll split it half and half because it's true. Like how many people." When you're scrolling and you want to look at something and it's, you're in a darker setting and all of a sudden you get this massive bright website, the last thing it hurts your eyes. You're like, oh Jesus, and you're turning down your screen lighting and we don't want to do that. It seems like everybody wants to hide these days, so they want something, they're always hiding in the dark, so they don't want something bright hitting them in the face. I don't want to blind you. Blinded by the light. The light of education. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, a couple other things. So there's blogs on there. And of course, I heavily focus on condo. As you guys know, I specialize in condo. I will help out our commercial friends in my consulting side. I mean, right now, all the documents that anyone could ever need, whether commercial, non-for-profit, whatever, technically can be purchased on site, like on my website. But when it comes down to having someone on your side to help run everything and be your owner's representative, I will, but it's got to come, like it's, when I look at things like that, I look at where I want my clientele to understand that I'm not coming on to fight with anybody. I want everybody to succeed, but I'm still in a male dominated industry. And when you're someone who's hiring somebody like me, understand that I am a reflection and representation of the owner that has all the skin in the game, which means that as much as I want to work with you and get along, if I think you're trying to screw over my client, whether they're non-for-profit or for-profit, you're not going to like a certain side of me. I will question you. I am very realistic. I'm very, brass tacks, factual, transparent. And so if you're, so I was like, I have a friend of mine. He's like, you should have a disclaimer that says, if you shady, you not for me. And I'm like, no, I can't say that. He's like, just put it down there, throw it as a slogan. And I'm like, no, you can't do that. But I just did. So that was funny. Moving on. But yeah, so I want people to succeed in every aspect. And for a company and for profits to succeed, people are rubbing their hands together when a for-profit company is saying, hey, I want to create this development. I want to have like a, what do you call them? I can't even think of them. They're like little mall plazas. I can't think of the word. I'm having a day. And so anyways, so they want to have like a little plaza and they want to put like so many little businesses in there and whatnot. Well, that's a large expenditure. That's not something that you just wake up one morning and you're like, yeah, I'm just gonna throw up a plaza. Like that's time, that's planning, that's permits, that's everything. That's a lot of stuff. That's making sure you're zoned correctly. There's a lot of things that go into that. And so when I stand with them and I help them do all those things and make sure that their vested interest is being secured and we're mitigating any type of risk, and we're paying attention to everything that's going on, the last thing I want is for them to be like, well, I want my buddy to do this, but buddy's not listening to me and now there's a conflict. I will be honest with you, I gracefully bow out of those. I'm like, I'm not fighting your friend, or I'm not fighting your family, or I'm not fighting someone that you think has your best interest. Because the one thing I have found the most in businesses and people who do this is the person that is poisoning your well 9 times out of 10 is the person you least suspect. The guy or girl that, makes you a bunch of money, the guy or girl that is, your right hand. A lot of the times that's who it is. That's who's poisoning your well. And when I go up and have to tell people, hey, your moneymaker is poisoning your well, they're like, well, I'm not doing anything about it. And it's like, but you're going to destroy your morale and you're putting your livelihood at risk every single day you let this person continue to do this. But I can only point out the problem. What you choose to do with it is yours. But that is a problem I don't know how to solve. Okay, so I'm not going into a situation where it's going to be a constant conflict and no matter what I do is not going to solve it. My job, you're not paying me to get along with everybody when it's going to cost you. You're like, if this guy is charging you 60% markup and I catch it and I'm like, we're not doing that. And you're like, well, I'm sure that's not what it is. You're reading it wrong. Like if you come at me and tell me that I don't know what I'm doing or that it's wrong or that, it's okay, this person can do that, then why am I here? Why am I here? This person shouldn't be making more than 20 points, if like 10, if they're not running the whole thing. If they're just doing an aspect, they shouldn't be putting markup any higher than 20 max. So if they're putting up markup higher than that and you're like, oh yeah, no, that's fine. I'm sure, he's got to catch up costs here and there. Then I look at that as kind of like, what are you not telling me? Where is there like a kickback somewhere? Is there an agreement that I'm under that I don't understand? Because I need all that kind of information, and that will help me decide whether or not I'm going to help somebody. So that's why I like sticking with non-for-profit, because they tend to be a more vulnerable group of people because they want things to be done and they have a budget and they're not trying to exceed that budget or do cash calls. So we try to help them to keep on track with what they need to do. And someone like me is a drop in the bucket at the end of the day, because where they might have spent a whole bunch of money not realizing and all these change orders coming through and they're becoming overwhelmed, I would prevent a lot of that happening, or I would pay attention to all the change orders and why and whether they made sense and whatnot, right? So I've seen contractors come on and do amazing jobs, and I've seen contractors come on and start off at like, oh, this is going to cost you like $275,000 to do this building envelope project. And then like not even 30 days later, they're like, oh, I misspoke. It's actually 375. And I'm like, where'd you get the extra 100,000 from? Like you came in at 275 and now all of a sudden it's 375. And they're like, oh no, it's 375. But then when we move over to this side of the building, it'll be like 275. And I'm like, no, that's not how this works. So, and most of the time when I walk onto a site, I'm an estimator as well. So I pretty much know what it should be. So if someone comes in and they quote you way too high, I'm going to know right off the hop. And I'm going to be like, oh, no, it's not. So it's always a benefit to have somebody in your corner that knows how to do all the things and is certified and designated in all those areas. But yeah, anyways, super stoked about all these wonderful things. This isn't a super long podcast today because it's just me popping on to let you guys know that we're going to get some authors on. And then we've got a few other people coming. I think there's a couple of them from Edmonton that are going to be coming on. So that'll be fun. I'm really excited for one of the guys. He hasn't booked yet, but he's looking for a time right now to book in because he's with a security company and he's got he's extremely well versed on what he does, and he's got so much passion about it. And there's things that I didn't even know about, and it's a security aspect for condo and like inside the vestibules, and his product can be guaranteed. The only problem is the product is only as good as the user. And that tends to be problematic sometimes, because if the user is a multitude of users not utilizing it correctly, it doesn't work as well as you'd like it to. So that's always something to consider. Also on my website, there's going to be blogs, and I'm going to try and get some videos on there. I'm going to have to talk to Michael about those videos. But anyways, you guys all have a wonderful week. Well, the rest of a wonderful week. And should be some podcasts coming out next. Well, they come out every Wednesday, but some new ones coming out. So I'm excited to talk. I always like talking to people. If you guys ever want to jump on a podcast with me, please don't hesitate to. You can reach me at lisa@lpmenterprises.net. Send me your stories. Send me questions. Fight with me. I don't care. But anyways, yeah, you guys have an amazing week, and we'll catch you next week. Don't do anything crazy.